Welcome back to River Rat Garage. Today we're going to talk about our latest project, and that is a Sears Spyder bicycle. The Stingray model, as you can see, but it's a 26, I believe a 26-inch bicycle, and as you can see it's needing some parts and stuff, but I figured you guys would like to see me restore one of these bikes. And I'm not really going to do a big time restore because the chrome is decent. You know, it has some marks on the black, which I'll replicate and put back on. The white needs, right here, needs to be put back on because it has wear. The pedals, I'm thinking that I have a pair of pretty good original ones. They're just like that. Of course, as you can see, it comes with a shifter that's a little loose. Maybe it needs some new bearings or something. I ain't too sure. Maybe I'll look into that. As you can see, also it has well, the brakes need a little adjusting. They're just a little well, pretty much non-existent. The handles on these things are kind of cool. Most of your older bikes have indentations for all fingers, but these here on these Sears Spyder bikes don't. And they're of course you can see it's a purple speckle. Of course the bike is a purple bike. The seat, let's talk about this seat for a few minutes. It's excellent shape for, let's be real, from the 70s. So yeah, on the chrome, there's a little dent right here. I think that's the only dent on the fender. I'll work that out. That's not really too bad. And as you can see, it has the 5-speed, and of course the shifter seems to be, well, I think it's just bound up a little, well, maybe no cable. Okay, the cable is tied to the sissy bar on this thing, and as you can see, I don't really think that's really the way it was originally came, but we'll look at that. And as you can see, it has the run flat tires. They seem to be totally flat, and so we'll have to maybe address that by maybe putting in some air or something. And it has a few spokes missing. But you know, that just lightens it up and cuts down on wind resistance, so it should theoretically go quicker, I'm thinking. Of course, we already covered, I don't know if we covered the brakes, but okay, the cable seems to, it's been shortened. It's been shortened quite a bit, and matter of fact, so much shortened so that it's not even hooked up to the handle. I think that was a performance upgrade. And you know, these bikes were modified a lot back in the day. You know, we used to put in you know, like football, baseball cards in there. You know, I don't know how many Babe Ruth, Joe DiMaggio, other old baseball people, and football stars and hockey stars, and of course the garbage pail kid cards. We'd put them on there for our little you know, not paper, but clothesline clips. And anyway, so that there is you know, part of what happens to a lot of these bicycles from the 60s. So this one here is I haven't looked at the ID yet, but I'm thinking it's late 60s, early 70s. Of course, as you can see, it has the Sears badge on it, and of course, you know, it has nice chrome on it, which is, let's talk about this handlebars. You know, how many of these handlebars have been flipped over. You know, we're changing a flat on the tire and we scratch up these really have a little bit of scratching, but not very much. The hand grips on both of them are good. Of course, the shifter is showing a little wear, and you know, it's well, okay, it doesn't seem to be doing anything. As we look at this side, let's go ahead and the kickstand. You know, I used to have one of these back in the day, and I don't remember the kickstand looking that way, but it may have looked that way. This pedal doesn't seem to be too good well, it's not bad, but it's not too good. The sissy bar itself, although it's a short one, you can see it's been laid on the side a few times. I might dig in my pile of stuff and see if I happen to have a new set of that. The fenders are great shape. The chain guard, as we talked earlier, has a little wear on the paint, but the chain guard itself is in great shape. The back rim, as you can see, other than missing a few spokes, you know, for performance enhancement, is you know, okay. And of course, you know, with the shortened brake cable on this thing, well, you know, that leads to the fact that the brake pads well, have very little, if any, wear. Of course, the front ones are missing altogether, and I'm going to be honest with you, who really used the front brakes, because we were too busy doing wheelies with these things back in the day. And I'm sure I'm going to have to say old timer, because we're talking, this is a, you know, late 60s, early 70s thing, which is what, 50, 60 years ago. You know, the young kids don't know a lot about how these Stingrays were treated. I'm surprised the back tire itself is, to me, is the original, because as you can see, it has the ridges in here, and that's and if you we used to paint them red, and a lot of times they came with red on them. These here, I don't know, no, well, there's still a little bit of red, can't really see there, so we can we'll repaint them back red. The rims seem to roll straight. As we can tell, the seat looks good, and the handlebars are decent shape. So I just did drive this thing up down the street, you know, and of course that's when I realized it had no brakes, which is not a good feeling. Of course, I should have realized that to start off with. And of course, the shifter, you know, really all we need is one speed, and that's fast. And we don't really need brakes. Brakes are for sissies. And anyway, so you guys follow along as we restore this thing. Actually, we're not really going to do a full-on restoration. What we're going to do here is just a simple maybe re-chrome this and put the cables back on it. You know, I don't really know. I got this, of course, Sears bikes were, I believe, built by Murray at this point in time. So I'm thinking that I might happen to have some original 26-inch front brakes, or even, I think, rear brakes will work as long as I have the right bolts to put on it. And that way I'll have all the brakes and stuff on it, although I'll never use them. And of course, it's coming along, and having a nice seat, and the paint is okay. It's missing some of these stickers. That's something I'm gonna look into, and I'm sure you can get a hold of them. And we'll get this thing all back together and going. And anyway, look forward to part 2, when I actually put on the cables and all the stuff and take it for a little spin, see how she does. Okay, and thank you for watching, and like and subscribe, and we'll have her going. Thanks a lot. Bye.